components of having a race is they have to have a way to get back and forth to ABR. And I said to them, what do you think it will do? And they said, well, we think it's going to bring somewhere between, on the first year, 100 to 700 racers here. I said, holy cow, that's a lot. Sure, I'll help. We'll see what transpires. So we put our buses out there, and it turned into, we transported 300 people that were all skiers to the race, and they all ended up in downtown, and then 80 people from downtown back to ABR. So it was 380 people. And I said to myself, this was a success because it brought those 380 people. You know, it was a failure because the roads were blocked off in that respect, and no one knew about it. And I didn't know about it even when I said I'd do transportation. The plan was originally, a skier would go through, then the road would be open. A skier would go through, and the road would be open. But what happened was from 11:30 to 3:30, there were so many skiers they had to close the road. But anyway, I said to myself, you know, this is one of those things. It's going to be like our, you know, the greatest things we have going for us that bring people to downtown Ironwood. The Ironwood Festival, which is wonderful, the Jack Frost Festival, events at the Ironwood Theatre and Theatre North, plus all of your hard work. You know, Lottie's has Main Street Fitness. Bill Penrose has people coming from all over the country. All of you do a wonderful job, but we only have these 3 or 4 events. And I thought, when I was 13 in Ironwood, my dog and I won a race at a winter festival. I was given a $50 savings bond. That winter festival lasted 3 years. People loved it, but then interest died. And then when Will Andreessen was the city director, he had the snowshoe races again, and the dog sled races, and the snow scoop races. And that was a wonderful festival. And then it died. But with these young people involved in SISU, they're ready to do this year in and year out. And this year, it was the skiers that came. So there's 300 skiers that came. But they didn't know a lot about it, so most of them didn't bring their families. Next year, they're going to bring their families. So maybe next year, there's going to be 350 skiers plus their families. So then all of a sudden, that's 1,200 people. So you know, anyway, just speaking on Ironwood and how much I like Ironwood, you know, this is a good thing. Do we have to work out a lot of details? Absolutely. Does Pam have, you know, and Pam wore all these hats, and she was running back and forth, and she was making stew and she was doing that. But you know, there were things that there's going to be a correction list, you know, and there's going to be a things that were done right list. And it did fill up the Ironwood Theatre that night with 300 or 400 people. I don't know what it was.
They made a 30% increase in their revenues that night than when they had Jeff Daniels there. So the theater was very happy.
And at the expo itself, I end up going to a lot of vendor shows, and the vendors there were very happy because people streamed into their vendor booths, and I thought to myself, you know, that they were buying the SISU hats, and they would have loved to buy Ironwood paraphernalia. You know, a lot of these things didn't work. But next year, if everyone knows the good things that happen there, maybe instead of 24 vendors, or how many vendors?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe there'll be 50 vendors, and I know that you know, some of those things. So I still
just one little note. You're talking vendors.
Yeah.
Now this goes right back to the communication. There was absolutely no communication. Where were these vendors at?
They were at the Memorial Building. First of all, let me just start out by saying this was the first event.
But I mean, that's the biggest thing is there was
we didn't know about
communication.
No, and
there was a race for.
We would love to have somebody representing the downtown to work with us. I did go to present in front of the DIDA board last spring, a long time ago, and I do wear many hats, as Jim said. And one person can't do it all. We had a really great race committee of many people, of many different talents. I mean, you asked me about how to do wave placements in a cross-country ski race. I know nothing about that. But I know how to promote and the basics for getting a, you know, just pulling together an event. That's what I helped to do. We had people from the city, Bob Burchell and Scott Erickson, that said, we'll take care of the road crossing. So, I mean, those are the people.
Thanks, Jim.
Oh, thanks. Hey, I got to go to a meeting.
Thanks, Jim. but they're the ones that said that we'll take care of that. I mean, yes, there should have been more there,
Yeah,
but
the communication
Sure.
was.
sure. And when we fully couldn't agree more, that more could be done for communication,
Yeah.
but we need more help.
Yeah.
We
And
need
then-
more people
yeah.
involved for
And
that,
then
so.
another thing, they had a race or a ski program thing to taste different foods for lazy people like me that can't race. I didn't know anything about it until afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
And I talked to probably 7 people that I work with.
Yeah,
They said, "Did you know about that? I would have done that."
yeah. Next year.
Nobody knew.
Next year.
Next year will be that
See,
much better.
and
Yeah.
that's it.
So
One-
that's a few things that have to be
Sure.
done.
Great.
The communication
Yeah.
has to be there.
But
And
now,
also do not shut down downtown Ironwood. I appreciate what's going on, but we rely, our business, 99% are our local people. If we get that 1% in, we definitely appreciate if it's tourists, but we need to be more informed and more involved and not to shut down every aspect of downtown.
Yeah.
We couldn't even get home, and we live in Norrie.
Yeah. Paul Heichel couldn't get home. He almost got picked up by the police. Cut through the back of the cut back
that
behind the
was a
police car.
group from the race committee in the city.
But who headed that group up?
Bob Burchell, Scott Erickson, you know, there's a one. But quite frankly, a lot of the signage that needs to be done. But what we've learned, see, you learn from these processes. And one thing that I've always said at every meeting that involves the public is one thing I will guarantee is there will be some bumps. It's a first
Oh,
time
there's
event.
always bumps. Yeah.
Sure, it's a first time event. It's not reason to give up, but it's time to say, okay, what do we need to do to make it better next year?
Okay, who heads up this?
Well,
No, there has to be a.
I'm the race director.
Okay, so
You know, but
that's all
there's
you have to do
many
with the
people.
races.
It truly is a team of people that came together with their experience together.
I guess my question basically is, I've done many fundraisers for people with cancer. Okay, I sat here on the realm and worked along with everybody, but I like you had this one do this, this one do this, this one do that. So somebody out of this whole group of people has to be the head of it, whether it be you, Burchill, Scott Erickson, or the Pope. There has to be somebody that sits at the realm to say, this is going on target, this is going okay, this is going okay, no, we should do this. Who is that person? That's the
It
person.
isn't set up that way. It's not set up that way. There isn't one person in the race committee that you can point to and say, that's the person to blame.
And I'm going to tell you something, Pam. Living here and living in New York City, like you left with Daryl's school besides Ironwood. The same thing that happened this year, Mr. B. another catastrophe. As to what type of food, you don't have anybody sitting up there discussing and saying, listen, let's call the businesses downtown here. This is what we want to do. Or let's close up Air Street from here to Bessemer. Or let's go through Norrie and we'll move out the people this way. You have to have somebody, because if Bob Burchill was involved, and I'll say this to Bob in a meeting, it's not that I'm saying it to you here, and I'm going to say it to him. If he was involved in it, or even Bob Burstart, who is the traffic engineer, should have known that if you close out everything from, I think it was like M&M Plumbing down to Lawrence, then you can make a left on Lawrence, because that's where they, US 2 traffic was directed, and then pass down my place. This didn't affect me one way or another, but I got the phone calls, like a lunatic, and I'm going, hey, what are they calling me for? What do you want me to do, stand up in the middle of the ski fest here or what? I can't do anything for you. And these people had said they were going to call a meeting, and I said, fine. Would you go? Fine. Would you represent us at a commission meeting? Yes, but you have to realize one thing. I'm not going to badmouth sister because I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm pretty close to Jim Elmer. We're down where they forget about us down there. And that's fine. But if downtown people make business, then that money will fluctuate to me. It